I am and have been for the last 43 years a member of the media. For the last 35 years, I've been a member of the national media at significant high levels. So you can all boo now because I know we all hate the media now because for the last 45 years, we've had a whole lot of misinformation and disinformation and pot shots and everything thrown, saying the media is not trustable. The media, we're big wild Siberian tigers who just sit in a dark room somewhere and grind our axes and knives all day to come out and kill people who don't deserve it. We couldn't possibly be there because we're interested in, I don't know, speaking truth to power. Yeah. Maybe, maybe telling the truth, maybe telling a story, maybe advancing a cause. So what we've done over the last 40 to 45 years in this country is really destroy the credibility of the media, and we've wrecked people's perception of it. Meanwhile, much of the media is still doing the awesome, thankless job they have always done, and that's the only reason we know anything. Anybody who pays attention to headlines knows today that voice is being stepped on, that voice is being squelched, and that voice in some cases is being silenced. We travel the country making a TV show. We go to farms. We follow the food chain. We make a show called Where the Food Comes From. It's on a national television network that no one subscribes to. So we started our YouTube channel so people can actually watch it. But now we've been picked up by USDA National Ag in the Classroom. And we're going to be in front of potentially 10 million students and 200,000 teachers every year. So we've shifted all of our episodes and all of our other material over to our website, wherethefoodcomesfrom.com. You can go there and watch any of our shows. You can see a lot of Donna's hard work. She writes the behind-the-scenes episodes about when we go film, and it's so funny. You would think as the producer and the host, you would know everything that happened that day. And I read her articles, and I'm like, when did that happen? What was going on there? How did I miss that? She also does product reviews and a lot of other things, but she's also the editor of the Where the Food Comes From cookbook. So she's a good person to know. I'm just kind of curious in this room who we are and what you guys do, what kind of roles you have. So I know a little more about who I'm talking to and how to specify this. If we can, let's start with you in the back in the orange hat.
My name is Jamel. I'm part of the City of Temple's Green Team.
Okay.
It's an environmental stewardship program here for City of Temple.
That's fantastic. We're looking at the new community garden project that's starting. We're very excited about that. It's a different approach to a community garden.
The one downtown?
Yeah.
With the parking garage.
And I'm excited about it. I'm really looking forward to how that develops. And in fact, we're going to be reaching out to them soon. I kind of want to track that development for a homegrown story. When I say homegrown, not homegrown Hillsborough, our homegrown, because we film everywhere. What do you do? I know what you do, but tell everybody else.
I'm Darsh. I work with the Agrarian Club at USF and president of that club, vice president here, the mayor. We just spoke about in the other room, and Chipman was one of our vendors at the Food Sour and Farmers Market.
But we weren't selling nothing. We were giving it away.
And then we're also trying to start a seed library on campus.
Which is incredibly exciting. That's one of my big wish list shows is the International Universal Seed Bank in Peru. We can't wait to go tell that story. That's a repository. Their goal is to collect some of every kind of seed that's ever been grown anywhere that has sustained humanity. So in case something happens, we'll know where they're at. So, Haley, is it?
Yes. I'm not sure how to do it.
What are we doing?
The music came on.
Oh. Haley, what were you saying?
Can't break dance, so. No, I'm in the grants and fundraising.
If I dance, I break.
So
So I do grants and fundraising
Mhm.
for Feeding Camp Bay.
Okay.
So that's kind of the bread and butter, but I do a lot of other stuff. I work with a local newspaper in St. Petersburg called St. Pedro Gazette, so
Okay.
I help him.
So, yeah, so,
And I ran, also just media in general is great. I was an English major, and I also did, oh my gosh, I was editor-in-chief of my college paper
Uh-huh.
in media criticism. So.
all right, so you'll understand some of the other sides, so you'll know if I'm full of crap or not today, so you can fact check me on all those kind of things. Ma'am, in the lovely hat?
I'm the general manager of Sweetwater Organic Community.
Oh, yay!
I just want to share.
It's another one we're eyeballing.
Yeah, I want to share with you. During the shutdown, we were having an issue that only the USDA could tell us what the issue was so we could start to resolve it. And we just kept getting the message that we're shut down and oh well. And so a news crew came out to talk about what are the impacts of the shutdown and our staff and EBT programs and stuff. And so I shared that with him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we're locked out and we can't talk to anybody to resolve it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were reaching in many directions. He did some reaching on his own, found somebody at the USDA in Pennsylvania that called us back. And they were able to resolve it.
So you can personally speak to the power of media. So, ma'am?
Yeah, hi, my name's Kitty, and I'm the co-founder of the Coalition of Community Gardens, and I'm manager at the Tampa Heights Community Garden.
How beautiful. Anybody who I'm talking to, feel free to pitch me later on doing a show, and we'll do it. What do you do?
My name's Kalina. I've worked with IPES Extension in the food system space.
Okay.
So that was how I got introduced.
We know a lot of y'all. Does everybody in this room understand what extension is? Okay, because I mean, a lot of places we go, you say extension, they're like in your hair, or and they don't know what that is. So y'all need a better name, honestly. You need to be like the helpers with everything. Please call us. I sometimes feel like y'all are the Maytag repairman. You're just sitting there waiting for somebody to call and give some help. Hi, come on in.
Is there music playing?
There was.
Okay.
I was busting out some nice.
I'm here to
moves.
ask the hard questions, the mean questions.
Jump in here.
Yeah.
Come on.
No. You're all in good
I just
hands.
canceled the whole system, which took away the screen
Cool.
behind him. I don't know.
Because I turned on background music over there, so I didn't know if it turned it on over here.
It did.
But I think
We
it's
all
still
noticed.
going on over there.
That's okay. We don't care. They can enjoy their music all day long.
Yeah, but that turned off the
We're not
projector,
using
need
it.
it?
No, all it says is who we are, and we already told them that.
Okay.
So.
Okay, great.
And we
For
don't
everybody.
have any things.
And
I mean,
also,
I don't have
This
it.
is the hot room. That's the cold room. It's freezing over there.
Dang.
Yeah, it's freezing over
Well,
there.
we'll just open a little crack and balance it out. We're gonna be moving so fast, it's not gonna matter. Let's see. We hit stop, man. In the back.
Hi, I'm Sharice Gordon. I'm a gardener, home gardener, and helper to different community gardens.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just beautiful, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Regina for Life. I am president of Healthy 22nd Street Community Garden.
Oh yeah.
I'm also a co-chair with Homegrown.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm Diana Kyle. I work with Seed Folk Kids, and we run an after-school garden program, and you're welcome to come film those little tiny third graders who say, I love gardening.
There's a lot we're gonna do. There's a lot we're gonna be doing with USDA and National Ag in the classroom. We have some opportunities now, especially to reach out to younger. We know that like kindergarten through sixth grade, they're not gonna understand our show. It's not a hard show to watch, but you probably need to be older than about 9 to get it. So we're gonna be producing new material. We actually have a volunteer we've thrown under the bus. Someone in this room and her daughter have been thrown under our bus. We're gonna have them start producing short material that we're gonna take in the classroom with us under our umbrella. Would love to hear from you. And locally, we're gonna try to come out, and even if we don't wind up making full TV episodes about something, come out and do a little 4 or 5 minute short, and we're carrying that into the classroom. We know that in this world of decreasing attention spans, our show at a staggering 22 minutes per episode just taxes these modern attention spans. So we got to make it shorter and shorter and shorter. I'm starting to think the perfect social media post and video would be, hi, and then you're gone. Everybody, finally you caught their attention for the whole thing. Ma'am?
Hi everyone, my name is Eileen Hernandez and I'm part of the working group Food Access. I'm the one that's always posting the Did You Know series, so
Oh, okay.
I do that every once in a while and I'm happy to be here.
The face behind the secrets.
Hi, I'm Melanie Powell. I work for the Florida Department of Health in Hillsborough County, a public health practitioner. I used to work more in this food sustainability project.
Yeah.
And I've shifted over to another project, so I'm not in it as much, but as a public health practitioner, very interested in food as medicine initiatives.
Yeah.
And all the, health issues and everything that come along with it,
Mhm.
can all be avoided for consuming healthier options, right? So,
Perfect. That's beautiful. So all of you in this room are going to be in positions where you may encounter the media, whether you want to or not. Sometimes the phone's going to ring. And I say this like people still call people on the phone, just because that's how we used to. Sometimes the phone's going to ring. It's not. The phone's never going to ring. So sometimes the phone's going to ring and you're going to pretend to answer it. And it's going to be trouble on the other line. It's going to be somebody who wants to ask difficult questions. We're going to talk about how to deal with that too. The first thing to remember is the media is not what they have been portrayed as. So let's talk about the kinds of media. Everybody in this room has access to powerful platforms to help you, just like you found out. You made one call, the TV station comes out, calls a guy, next thing you know, you got USDA. Somebody found somebody. We're good at that. We're very good at that. The reality is most of them don't want to hide from us, even though they might go, oh, the damn media. They're the first ones calling us. They want the publicity. And then they can blame us if something goes wrong. And that's one thing in your media experience. Be prepared for something to go wrong. For 40 years, I've been telling stories and I've been doing these interviews, and I would guess at this point I've probably conducted somewhere near 20,000 interviews. And I mean, sometimes that's just been a sit down, hit and run for a few minutes, and sometimes I'm on the road tagging along with Derek Jeter for 3 days as we're doing a big cover story for something. Some of the people, the Mario Andretti's and the Jon Stewarts and the Heidi Klums and the people you look back and go, yeah, wow, I hung out with all those people. I can go to the Tampa Bay Bucks. I can go to the Buccaneers Stadium. I can look at the Ring of Honor, and I'm like, I know all these people. We were at the arena the other night looking at all the retired Hall of Fame jerseys, and I'm like, I literally know all these people. So like 20,000 times I've been the person that you're going to be talking to. But now recently, I had a little spurt in the 90s when I did a syndicated column, internationally syndicated column for the Chicago Tribune about video games. That was like the first 19 years of my career, was playing video games and telling the world about them. And then I knew that newspapers weren't really going to hold up. And I also knew that was a great way to have fun and raise kids, and it was a beautiful, wonderful experience. And I could sit here and talk 3 hours about it, and you would just go, I hate your life. But I knew that there was more important work to do. And not every journalist, but a lot of journalists do have some kind of ethos and something that drives them, and they have a purpose, and there's a reason they're journalists. It's not a great job at the lower levels. It's really not. You can probably testify to that. Like in everything else, everybody's overworked, drastically underpaid, severely underpaid. So after this 40 to 45 years of us sowing seeds of mistrust in the media, predictably, the media has in some ways turned into what they were saying it was, because now it's become very difficult to attract talent. It's become very difficult for media properties to become profitable. That's why you see so much garbage and clickbait. That's how they get paid. Make you click, make you click, make you click, make you click. Good Lord, you'll recognize this probably. From my first day out of the rodeo shoot, it was like, kid, there's 5 things you got to get in the opening paragraph of every story. Who, what, where, when, why, and sometimes how. That disappeared somewhere. And now it's like, there's something in your cabinet that's going to kill you, and it's probably going to happen tonight. Don't you want to know what it is? Well, we're going to tell you. Just hold on. And they get you all the way down the damn page, and they go, there's a hammer in your cabinet, and it could kill you if someone hit you with it. Thanks. Right, and then they got the click and the click and the click and the click. Yeah, and before you get the final answer, they're kind of like, well, just subscribe, and and they'll solve everything. So it's changed the way the media works. One of the biggest changes has come in the fact that a lot of time when you do get a chance to talk to a journalist, you're not going to get to talk to the journalist. They're going to send you a list of questions. They're going to email you a list of questions. That's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you can control what you're saying, and you can control what you deliver, and you will know, and you won't accidentally go, my boss is a jackass. You're not going to do that in a written communique. What it does, though, is it shuts off natural conversation and conversational flow, the opportunity to introduce other things. There are ways to do that anyway, and we'll talk about those. So the kinds of media, what do we work with? Well, I'm sure all of you, everybody in this room is probably sitting there going, social media, we've got to be on social media. And 1,000,000%, but remember, on social media and in the social world, like attracts like. And, it's based on what you like, what you do, what the people who that is shared with and reaches, what are their likes, what do they do? So it's like, we think of social media as something where we put out a post and everyone can see it. That was true in 2003, but it has not been since. Social media is a huge highway, and it's many, 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 many lanes. You on social media, for the most part, are in your lane, and you're reaching maybe a lane next to you or a lane next to you. What about the people in all the other lanes? In legacy media, which means all the old stuff before social media, there's actually a term in television and radio, broadcasting. If you stop and think, you break that word down, what broadcasting? This is for everybody, and this is where we're trying to reach everybody. So if it's not in your little lane, the social media world is fantastic, and you must lean on it, and as far as I can tell, it's a part of forever. And you need to learn to cultivate that. You always control your own message in social media. In legacy media, you do not. But there are many ways to get publicity for your causes, many ways to get publicity for your organizations. And part of it is in knowing what the media landscape is. Everybody knows, I guess we'll call the Tampa Bay Times and we'll call WFLA. Well, who else? How many? What was your publication?
San Pedro Gazette.
San Pedro Gazette. Subscribers, anybody? No, but what you don't know is that other people are. And people can sometimes be dismissive of hyperlocal media. In reality, what's happening nationally, the only media that's actually working and doing its job is hyperlocal media. Because your neighborhood news, your local news, your Seminole Heights news, that's not going to be in the big paper. That's not going to be on the big websites. That's not going to be any of those places. It's got to be somewhere. That's what local news is for.
Can I do it?
Please, yeah.
San Pedro Gazette is the only newspaper that is hyperlocal in St. Pete that has coverage of every single city council meeting from January to December.
Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that
And it's
somebody's
only
got to keep those lights on?
600 words or less.
Yeah.
And it's no paid anything. Open
Wow.
journalism.
That thing I said about some people just care and just want to shine lights.
Excellent. He's been writing in the city for over 10 years.
Yeah. So, and there are many other publications like this. Some of them are still, you still see some print papers. I mean, even something like Weekly Planet. That can be a really powerful platform. And don't judge your outreach by the type of media or what their audience is, because again, you're limiting yourself. So the first thing I would encourage you all to do, if you have a message that you want to share, if you want to begin cultivating relationships with the local media, first find out who's here. First find out who's here. Don't forget WUSF. Don't forget WMNR. Don't forget all of our local players, where you're really likely to find the people who are more dedicated to telling stories and moving forward and helping you out. And that's another thing to keep in mind. It can be very intimidating going to the media and being in front of the media. And it shouldn't be, but it can be, because it's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity. The other thing is that the media screws things up a lot. So in the 90s, with my syndicated column, I started being on the other end of a lot of interviews, and it was stunning to me how many people don't. To me, a quote is when somebody tells me something, I write down exactly what they said. I've usually recorded it, and I'm going to go back. Those are the only things that are going in quotation marks. Most people are much more liberal with that definition of what a quote is. And what they kind of think is, well, he kind of said something like this, and I think that's what he meant, and this works better for my story, so that's what he said. And you're kind of like, oh man, you're supposed to be good, and you did that. So be ready. You're going to see things change. Even you would think, as I was talking in the written Q&A, you're kind of like, perfect, I'm protected. They can't screw this up. Want to bet? Want to bet? So don't be shocked. This is why you've got to be very thorough when you communicate with the media, and you've got to bring them everything they need. But let's come back to this initial thought. How do you approach the media? How do you prepare to meet the media? How can you stop being afraid of the media? How can it stop being intimidating? Most people do not like a camera shoved in their face or somebody sitting there with a recorder or a pad or something, because it's nerve-wracking, Some people, on the other hand, just kind of love it, and they're kind of tramps for it. But most people, that's an intimidating moment. In fact, over the last couple of 3 years since we started the show went live in January of 22. And I've done, quite a bit of live television interviews, and now probably in the last 6 to 8 months, we've gotten more media coverage. The national media is starting to figure out we're here. We had Reader's Digest do something with me. PBS actually did a feature story, breaking out in showbiz after 50. I'm kind of like, oh, almost right there. And I'm kind of, well, it could be worse. It could be like falling downstairs after 50 or something. So I'm pretty happy with that. But it can be an incredibly intimidating experience. It's not for me, because I've done it a million times now, and I've been on both sides of the fence, and I know. But I would like to ask Donna for a moment to talk about. Donna was a career nurse. She has spent 20 years on the floor as a nurse. She has spent 5 years teaching college nursing. Early in the pandemic, she called. I should probably tell them we're married, because, otherwise it gets a little weird. People are like, that guy's a creeper. No, that wasn't it. We're that's the one. It just belongs to that. So Donna comes home. Donna calls me from school one day and goes, "Arg, last straw, camel broke. It's all done. Can I just quit and come home?" I'm like, oh shit, let me check. So I get the calculator out, and I'm like, yeah, so come on. So she comes home, and she says, "Can I work with you?" I'm like, sure. She said, "What do I do?" And I said, "You figure it out." Because if you think I'm going to try to work with my wife, travel with my wife, live with my wife, and tell my wife what to do, you ain't met my wife. So I said, "You figure it out." And she totally did. So now she has the approach and the diligence of a mid-level career professional journalist, because that's how she works. She tackles things, and she learns it, and she's diligent, and she's dedicated. And if you ever talk to a member of the media, I hope it's her or me, you know. And it's not dismissive at all to say we play at different levels, you know. And you're much more likely to encounter somebody like Donna than somebody like me who's coming in with the TV crew and the whole, you know, and here's your big national moment, boom. No, it's much more likely to be a local, homegrown, which is going to be more impactful for you. But I'd like Donna to talk a little bit about the first time the bus came by and I threw her under it for national television. She developed all these great projects and programs. It was her idea to do the behind the scenes articles. The cookbook was her idea. She came up with the brilliant, I'm like, how do you do recipes? Everybody's got a million recipes. She's like, well, what if we got recipes from the family and friends and guests of our show? Oh, that's only brilliant. So they're like giving great Grandma Johnson's recipe and stuff like that. So it's really beautiful. And so I guess, was it about 3 years ago as it was all getting started, and I guess we'd been on the air a few months.
We had been on the air a few months, and I've only been interviewed twice, but here was my introduction, national television.
Live. Live.
Yeah, that was my introduction. Okay, you're going to be interviewed by which anchor on RFD?
I think you had Tammy Arender and Suzanne Alexander, who country music fans know Suzanne Alexander. She's been a fixture in that side of things for like 40 years.
So in a way, it was kind of good because I was working with, hopefully, what I thought was the best of the best. I mean, after all, I'm a nurse. What do I know about interviewing or being an interviewee? First time it was on a Zoom, and it was a strict Q&A type of thing because, again, I had never done any of this stuff. A year later, we're heading off to Nashville, right? We got to go to a convention in Nashville. And I walked into the studio, and honestly, I liked the studio better than the Zoom meeting. But what I had listened to Chip for so long, read what he wrote for so long, he said, you know, A, you got to be yourself, but B, if you have a point to make, work it into that conversation.
There you go. It's huge.
And that was so huge because I didn't want it to be, if I'm going to be in front of national television, you're going to know me, not something that's been prompted. You know what I'm saying? So we were doing the interview, and I said to her, can I tell you a story? And she's like, by all means. Well, I wound up getting 2.5 extra minutes on my little blurb just from figuring out what I wanted to bring to it and not just strictly being guided. Does that make sense? There's the professor in me. Does that make sense?
And that's perfect. But also, tell people a little bit about how you felt before those interviews, before that first Zoom. Again, it's live national television. It's a Zoom, so there's at least some kind of wall. You're sitting in a familiar setting. But then you're walking into this huge studio in Nashville, and it's time to go live. Bye, ladies. I'll see you soon. Thanks for stopping in. Those people are awesome. So it's this huge, it's a very end of Music Row, and you go in and it's cavernous and the ceilings are 100 feet high, and it's just,
It's more like, just leave me alone, let me process, and I'll figure it out. I mean, that's kind of really what it was like, but it was the interviewer that made it so easy. She just put you at ease, shut your eyes, pretend the camera isn't there. I even said to her, where do I look? You know, I don't, because that'll throw it. You know, you think of all those people behind there. So I can't really say how I felt going into it. Nervous, absolutely.
There we go. I want
a martini after it. That kind of took the edge off of that. On the flip side, I've done for the website, I've conducted some interviews. I've interviewed some chefs. I've interviewed amateur chefs, professional chefs, and that was a little hard. I'm still mastering that, but I think my advice to like anybody who's going to work with the local media is do what they ask you to do.
There you go. This is huge.
And that is huge, and I'll just use my cookbook.
Please do. Yeah, that's a perfect place. Jump that in here. Y'all be quiet over there.
I need a recipe. I need a picture of the recipe, right? Makes sense. I need the ingredients. You'd be surprised how many recipes I get that don't get ingredients. I prefer a picture
It's insane.
of the person
It's
who
insane.
created the
Nobody can
recipe
follow
and a
instructions.
small bio. And I'm like, man, I've emailed some people 6, 7, 8 times. It's not that hard, guys. Just, and I'll work with you. I promise. I'll write your bio. Give me some facts. I'll write the description of the recipe. Give me some facts. But no. So what happens after 6 or 7 times? It's bye, Felicia. And
Told you that'd work. Well, no, but So, and these are all really good points. It's a hard job. It's a hard job, and it gets harder and harder because the public is like, you suck, and the pay is like, you do suck, and then the work and the hours and everything just gets piled on. Remember, as you look around in our world today, if we look at 25 years ago and now, there are 2 people doing the same job that 3 people were doing in 2000, and that's everywhere. That is across every industry. If you look up and you think you're busier today, you're right, because the people are just not there. So when a journalist is interested in talking to you and telling your story, it's so easy to comply. It's so easy. Give them what they're looking for. Be ready. Donna made a great point about taking control of the conversation. So I want to talk about the kinds of journalists who you are likely to meet. There's about 5 types. It's a terrible thing to put labels on people and put them on boxes and boxes, but sometimes we must. So these 5 types of journalists you're going to meet, you will probably never meet one who is exactly this, because we're all unique individuals and we're all shades in between. So the first kind of journalist out of the gate, you've got the good journalist who's diligent, who's thorough, who's fair. They don't have an agenda. They don't have an axe to grind. I like to think of myself as that person. And quite often with all the interviews that I've done, afterwards, the next thing people are going to say is, that was really easy and you made it really easy. They want to make it really easy for you. And the good journalists are going to do that, and you're not going to have any problem. Just give them what they want. You're also going to meet the indifferent journalist, someone who's just, well, it was a job and it's not as hard as some things. Look, let's be real. Many years ago, when you went to college, the crib degree was education, because that way all the athletes could go take PE and be PE coaches, and that's how they got through school. We looked around many years ago now and said, isn't education too important to mess up like that? So they made communications the scrub degree. So you get a lot of people that are just not that into it, not that into you. And just be prepared to be sitting there trying to tell your story to somebody who's yawning and looking around and going, I wish I was anywhere else. So the over it journalist. I think this is becoming more and more common as you see career people who were maybe once earnest and once trying really hard and once very diligent, but they just get beat down. The pay, the hours, the lack of advancement, I was so blessed. I started off at local newspapers. I had a plan and I worked my tail off. And by the time I was 29 years old, I was an internationally syndicated columnist. That happens to roughly 1 in 100,000 journalists. So my story is different from other people. And I think eventually after some time, almost everyone in local journalism just gets over it and then they go work in PR. So that always happens. So you're going to meet that person who's just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, tell me And what you got to realize is you got to work with all these different people. And then the fourth kind of journalist, very, very common, the dumbass journalist. That's just the only way to describe it. They're just a dumbass journalist. And by that, they might be earnest. Their heart might be in the right place. They're probably trying really, really hard, but bless their heart, the cabbage bin just ain't full, you know. They went and got that communications degree, and they're sitting there going, this is fun, you know, and it is. But be prepared for that person. And here's how you counter. We're going to deal with those four kinds of journalists first. How do you counter that? You've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared. You need materials. You need something that's going to tell your story or make your point at a glance. If you're reaching out to the media for coverage, don't hold anything back. Also, don't send them a book. You know, if you can get a 3 or 4 paragraph pitch that encapsulates who you are, what the purpose of this, what you are seeking, what you hope to achieve, you know. Well, I'm with Fred's French Fries, and we're opening a new store here in Tampa, and we'd like to talk to someone about getting some coverage possibly for our grand opening. Whatever it is, tell them what you want. Do not demand. Do not beg. Understand, the only thing journalists have going for them these days is that little bit of power. And you can't do anything to take that power away. Do not act ever like you're the boss. Be humble, approach it humbly, but also understand when you do get a chance to talk to the media, you can't be humble. This is your time to brag. I tell people all the time, if you don't tell them, who will? If you don't tell your story, who will? If you don't control your conversation, who will? So it really helps to do some study and forethought, whether you're intentionally trying to get to the media, not trying to get to the media, to have some representation. A lot of time in my business, in television or in production, we call it a one sheet. And it can be a file, it can be an infographic, it can be a piece of paper if you still have one of those. It can be, you know, some of this happens online, but this is a separate, it's almost, think of it as like your instant elevator pitch that you can put in front of somebody at a moment's notice that tells who you are and what your lane is and why that makes you of interest. So that's a really good way to start this communication process with the media. Humbly but completely transparent. This is what we hope to achieve. This is what, you know, we'd like to talk to you and let me know if you can help us out and anything we can do. Now, how do you get that first prick of interest? How do you get that first interview? How do you get that first meeting? Well, I don't know about you, but with me, bribery's always worked just a little mild bribery. And I say that jokingly, but I ain't joking. Again, there's not a whole lot, when you're in the trenches of journalism, there's not a whole lot that holds you up. You know, there's not a whole lot of wind in your sails. And it can be as simple as somebody going, well, I'd love to meet you and tell you our story. Can I buy you a cup of coffee? If there's a product you make or have access to, like Nicole, I know how Nicole could get publicity anytime she wants. Go pick a basket of produce and have it delivered to a journalist and say, we'd love to talk to you about what we're doing. I mean, listen, I hear her up here. She's the one working with it today. She's like, you know, offer a lunch. You know, can we meet for lunch? I'd love to tell you our story and talk about it, you know. What's that?
Networking is so important.
It's incredibly important. And that's the next thing I'm going to talk about is cultivating the relationships, you know, once you begin the relationship. So you got to let them know what you want. You've got to be able to reach out to them. It's very, very difficult. And I'll tell you, because of some of those kind of journalists who are on that list, even getting someone to look at an email or return a phone call. I'll tell you something really funny. I'm talking to Reader's Digest. I'm talking to PBS. I'm doing pieces. I'm on speed dial for the Tasting Table and the Takeout and Chow Hound and all these other places. you know. But I can't get the Tampa Bay Times to even acknowledge we're here. I've been pitching them emails, and I've even tried to call people. You know that thing that, hello? I've tried that. I've tried everything. There's just like, we're over it. One thing you will find at the local level in journalism too is sometimes the talent level is not the same as it is at the national level. So whereas Reader's Digest and PBS and the Takeout and these other people see this and they see a story and they're kind of like, my God, this is incredible. Here in good old Tampa Bay, they're just kind of like, yeah, you live here and you work here and you're doing this. What's it to us? We tell a lot of Tampa Bay stories. Still don't care. Don't know. Don't know if they don't look at their email, if they don't answer their email, if they look at it and goes, not what's on my agenda today. So meanwhile, I figure someday the Tampa Bay Times might call me. I don't really bother trying to ring their bell anymore. What's the point? That said, there's a lot of other media in town. There's a lot of other people we want to talk to. I'd love to talk to you.
We want people to email us. That's the thing. Is when
Yeah.
We're about 3 years old now. I literally talked the founder Sebastian off of stopping it. Like I met him, he was like burnt out over it. Met him and I was like, oh no, honey, you need to keep doing this now. Don't stop.
Yep, somebody's got to shine that light.
And then we broke a story on the immigration crisis and a pregnant mom getting deported local. And we did that with creative loafing, like shortly after. So
it's fantastic.
But we want people to email. The locals, we want your email.
The media wants to hear from you. They're looking for material. It's their job to sit there every day and churn up new material. And you got two sources. Press releases come in, or you got to find people and talk to them. It's much easier if they find you, if they're coming to you. And you can control that. Once you get in that situation, again, you're not trying to buy someone off or something like that. Just if all else fails, try beer. Journalists love beer. I mean, can buy you a beer. Now you got my attention. Yeah. So don't pester people, don't hound people, but be persistent. Sometimes if I get an email from somebody, I'm like, okay. And then if I get two and it's not annoying and it's like, oh, maybe I should take another. Y'all should see my email box, Donna. I mean, you look at it, it says unread emails, it's like 14,759. And I mean, I keep it blasted out. My goal is to get what came in today down to 0 every day. And it's just impossible. It's just impossible. So I'm sure there's people who email me things that I wish I had seen, but I'll never know. So understand, there's a lot of flow and there's a lot of traffic, and there's things you can do to try to make yourself distinctive. Don't hound people, but be persistent. Always be polite. Always be unfailingly polite. You know, this is a business where if you're not at the top, people can just be mean to you. They can just be mean to you. They can just be jerks. And they don't think anything of it. They have a thought that the media is there to serve them. Well, you know, the media is doing a lot already. You know, give a little, give back. When you do get a chance to tell your story, like Donna was saying, don't hold back. This is not the time to be bashful. This is not the time to be humble. It's also not the time to go, I'm the greatest in the world, you know. There's a balance, but again, if you don't tell your story, who's going to tell it? Don't be afraid in the middle of an interview. Even if somebody emails you a list of 14 questions and says, just answer these, type these. Go off book. If your topic isn't introduced there, go off book. People don't understand they can do that. Many journalists, especially, you know, the lesser categories we mentioned, you know, it's just easy. It's just easy. Well, I don't know, here's some questions I thought of, answer these, you know. And if you're taking that piece of the conversation out of it, that doesn't mean you can't take it back. You know, answer the questions, but look for ways to take side roads that get your points in, that you're trying to bring home. Don't let them control the conversation. I tell people all the time when we go into meetings and when I'm being interviewed by other journalists and things like that, I tell them all the time at the start of a meeting, and Donna's heard it 1,000 times. Look, I'm the producer and host of a TV show. It's my job to drive a conversation. I will take over your meeting. Don't let me do it. If you're talking to the media, they will try to drive the conversation because they're supposed to. But you can work with them, and it's a give and take. And if you do get in that live interview situation, whether it's a Zoom or phone or in person or whatever, understand this is not, you're not being interrogated. You're having a conversation. The best journalist and the best journalism comes from conversation. And, this list of questions, it's going to sound like somebody sent a list of questions and somebody answered a list of questions. What you want to do is control the narrative and control your own narrative. Be in charge of your own story. There's a lot of ways to do that. Subtlety is always good, but if you can't be subtle, use a velvet hammer. Just be kind, be polite, be considerate. Understand these people don't owe you anything, but there's huge opportunity there for you. It's so strange to me now after all that. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt.
No, please do. I meant to say earlier, if you got questions, ask them as we go.
So my question is,
Yeah.
I think, so as I prepare for, sometimes I get interviewed
Mhm.
and, and I have to be careful what I say. I work
Yeah.
for the state of Florida.
We're coming to that one, but go ahead. There's one more kind of journalist I haven't told you about yet. Yeah, you wrote 4 down? Okay, good. All right, go ahead.
So what is the best way, and I always have to give it like a kind of a disclaimer as well that, so I'm actually here, I work for the government agency.
Yeah.
So I'm really not representing today because I kind of came on my own because I used to work in this space for the state of Florida, but I'm not doing that anymore. But what is the best way, and I know you had some experience of being on a national interview, when you're being interviewed and the other to the interviewee, what is the best way of preparing? Like, I've done some podcasts and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I always get because you do have that list, right? Of
Yeah.
questions, whether you're in a panel or whatever. And so I think, what is like the best way for like us to prepare for something like that, right? Because I'm like, oh God, am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to, I get caught up in a lot
Yeah.
of those finer details. And, so it's paralyzing. It is.
It's a really, really critical point, what she just said. Sometimes she gets tied up in the minutia, in the small details. You want to tell everything, and you want to be transparent, and you want to make sure these people have everything they need to tell your story. Like Donna said, it's the biggest kick out there is. If you can't just follow simple directions and do it that way. A lot of time, if I'm doing an interview and it's going to be on a topic or on a particular subject, I'm going to create a separate thought line ahead of that. Sometimes I actually write it down, and I'll write down my own bullet points, and I'll look for spaces in the conversational flow, whether it's prepared ahead of time or it's happening live, to put in my prepared bullet points. And at this point, I've got them all, they're mostly memorized in my head, and I come up with new ones all the time. Look for your opening. Journalists are trying to give you an opening. They don't want to just sit here and go, well, then what happened? Make it a conversation. I cannot emphasize enough conversational flow. That is my style as a journalist. I realized in 2010 that I should probably go into television when it became clear to me that everywhere, if I was in public doing an interview somewhere at a table in a restaurant or in a ballroom or wherever we were, a crowd would gather around to listen to the interview. Because at that point it had become not just a series of Q&As, but a conversation. That's a decision I made stylistically many, many years ago. At the start of my career, I'm like, this is boring, just coming in with a list of questions. I don't ever prepare questions for an interview. 3 minutes? 30. Okay, we'll start practicing in a minute. I'm about done with this part. We're going to start practicing, y'all. Y'all going to get interviewed some. I forgot to mention that, didn't I? We're so totally unprepared for this. Look, Savannah calls me about 3 months ago. Homegrown Hillsborough Conference. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's fascinating. We're terrific. She said, well, would you want to do any kind of workshop? I don't know. I said, I've been thinking lately about doing a media training workshop. She's like, well, how long? I said, like 14 years I've been thinking about it. Because I knew when I came home from the sexy, happy limousine and first class airplane media world and came back and said, now I'm going to go back to Hayhira, Georgia, and I hope there's a hotel there. There was a lot of adjustment. There was a lot of adjustment. So it's the devil's in the details. The devil's in the details. But you don't want to batter them down with details. You've got to be ready to control the flow, control your flow of conversation, prepare that way. If you've got your bullet points, whatever they are, you're always ready. You're always ready. I can do an interview on a moment's notice, and I rarely spend any time preparing. You got a question?
I do. I was just wondering if maybe you had an opening starter, like to turn the conversation, like, hey, maybe you'd be interested in knowing about, like I could say that to the person that's interviewing me.
That's up to you, isn't it?
Well, I'm just saying,
I know.
maybe you're the professional, maybe you have
How do you bring your points in?
I like Donna's way. Donna said, can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was beautiful. Now, I understand there's many different interview scenarios, and you're not always going to be on national live television. But it was amazing the grace that she pulled that off with and the way she managed to hold it together and remember to introduce her own talking points and not let them drive the entire conversation. That can happen, as I'm saying, if you get a list of questions, take control there. If you get a chance to be on national television, take control there. The intimidation factor of talking to the media, we understand it. We understand this is a representation of you. We understand you're worried because everybody's told you to be worried that we got a knife behind our back and we're just going to catch you up with it. And the reality is, if you ain't done nothing, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, if you've done something, that's when you're going to meet the fifth kind of journalist, the hostile journalist, because you're in a situation either because of your position or something that happened at your work or something like that, or because you've got a crusader who sees something, they don't like something about what you do or the way you do it. I know we're going to draw fire at some point because we support all kinds of farming. It's because I understand. I've been around the world so many times. It's a big place, and there's a lot of people. And right now, 1.5% of the U.S. population is involved in feeding the rest of us. When John F. Kennedy was president, it was 51%. Now it's 1.5%. So, but that's how technology has advanced, and that's how, and we're able to do that. But it's still a very small pool. As we all know in our fields, anything that crosses into food, anything that crosses into public health, anything that crosses into community service, anything that touches any kind of governmental aspect at all, things can go wrong, and sometimes you're right in front of the bus. And you're going to meet journalists who, because of something that happened at work that may or may not be in your control, you're going to be expected to answer for. Or there's a journalist out there who thinks, as I know people are going to think, we're going to start hearing from people who are going, it should all be about organic garden. If we all just had an organic garden in our yard, we could feed the world. And I tell those lovely and well-meaning people, we tried that once. We call it the bad old days because it had things like starvation and famine. This is a job where we need all hands on deck, indoor, outdoor, organic, conventional, regenerative. Man, we love our regenerative farmers, but they can't feed everybody yet. They may be able to at some point. And we see all of it, indoor, outdoor, and we know it's all got to be there. That doesn't mean that there aren't special interest groups who don't believe in certain parts of it. Conventional agriculture is considered by many to be straight up the devil. Well, if you consider the devil the thing that kept you from starving to death along with 7.5 billion other people, then yeah, I guess so. The industry itself is aware. They know, and they're working every day to make it better, and we're very proud to work with them and to be in those rooms and have those conversations. But anybody can have an agenda, and you might have someone who comes hunting for your agenda or part of it, and that's going to be a very difficult situation. The strongest thing I can encourage in the case of a hostile journalist, especially if there's a situation where something has happened and that hostility is not warranted, but I mean, there's just a difference in a friendly feature story and a breaking news story where something has happened. Some of you professionally are going to have limitations because of your jobs and what you've been told to do and how to do, and some of these things are just going to get passed up chain. But you know, if you're in a position where this is happening, just be as completely open and fully transparent as you can be at the time. Otherwise, it's going to come out. It's going to come out no matter how bad it is. I watched several years ago, some of you might remember, there was a listeria outbreak in Cantaloupe, and it actually killed several people, and it was traced back to Colorado. But there were 3 other companies, not the packing house in Colorado where it happened. That's still in operation today. There were 3 other connected companies whose product was simply being packed there that are no longer in business because of that outbreak. And even though I knew all those people personally, I knew those companies personally, and I had counseled them all many times when they're like, what happens if something goes wrong? Own it, own it, own it, own it. They didn't own it. They passed it on. They started off with, wasn't us. Nope, we weren't. You know, and the reality was these one was a farm, one was a distributor, one was kind of like a hybrid model, and they were not responsible for the listeria. That happened at the packing house. But they came out and they tried for a couple of weeks to downplay it, to deny it. Wasn't us, we didn't have anything to do with it, wasn't even our cantaloupe, wasn't even this, wasn't even that. And as it got clearer and clearer, no, it came from, well, then it started to rain, and then it started to pour. And then by the end of that year, all 3 of those companies were gone because they lost public trustability, because they didn't take advantage of the opportunity to explain themselves. It's going to be hard, and it's not going to be easy, and you ain't got to tell them, you know, and then in 9th grade, I stole some pens from Walmart, and then, you know, don't go that deep. You don't have to do that. Deal with the situation, deal with it honestly. Don't try to cover it up. I think historically we see how that goes. I personally am looking forward to, I don't know, maybe 3 years from now to see what kind of news cycles we're getting into as stuff floats to the surface and we see what has been going on around here. So I'm looking forward to our media getting a chance to continue to do its job and dig deep and tell the truth and speak truth to power. Understand, they're really here to be a friend, and especially local journalism. I cannot sing the praises highly enough. You know, I also look at things like local TV news and go, oh, God, why does anybody do? You know, why bother? You know, the talent level is just not real high there. But it can be a huge benefit to you. Yeah.
So where are people getting their news from?
Isn't that a great question? Increasingly, horrifyingly, Twitter. So social media and AI are filling most of the requests right now. And that's why people believe the absurd and asinine things that they believe. And whatever it is that you crackpot believe, there's another crackpot who already posted something on the internet.
Talked about hyperlocal, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually the newspapers that I read are like the Wesley Chapel neighborhood newspaper.
That's what matters to you, yeah.
You know, like, because that's my community.
Right.
And that's where I can impact, and those are the businesses I want to do business
That's right.
with. And frankly, I get overwhelmed and anxious even just turning on the news, right? So,
Yeah.
and I have a 12-year-old in the house. So there's a lot
that to be said that I can't put the news on in front of her.
Sure.
Because of the different things I might have to.
But that doesn't mean Nicole Dubé can't be on WFLA telling her story.
Right.
Right.
But local, for me, it's as local as I can get, because that's what I can influence. That's
Mo-
what I struggle with, is I see something that I can't.
And there is something to be said about social media making news more accessible and
Mhm.
more digestible in that way.
And more wrong.
Yes, more wrong at times, but I also think that for me, my age, like, it's probably the most accessible for me. Like, I'll still go hyper local,
Yeah.
but sometimes social media is showing me like actual good stories and good information that is suppressed by legacy media or suppressed by other sources, especially if you're on other applications that aren't as monitored or things like
Or
that.
even not even suppressed, but of limited interest.
Yeah.
Of limited interest and limited appeal. That's one thing we're dealing with in the media is what they call shrinking news holes. That means you've got less advertising dollars, less advertising support. You can't put out as much material as you once could. So you have to be very careful as you're making these decisions. So I would suggest now we got about 20 minutes.
I thought we were supposed to be done here at 4:30.
Oh, we heard 5 o'clock. So,
Did you really?
yeah.
It says 5 on the program.
Okay, because the program says 4, but they told us that we could go an extra half an hour.
Oh, okay.
To me, that was 4:30, but
Oh,
if you talked to them and they said go to 5,
that's what I was told.
okay.
If you need to leave, you can. We're not going to hold you prisoner.
I'm actually going to sneak out now.
Okay. What we're going to do for anyone who wants to remain, we're going to do a little media training. I'd like to have people come up and sit with me, and you're going to meet one of our 5 kinds of journalists, and you don't know who that's going to be. So, and we're going to do just some short, quick interviews just to give you some idea of who you might be meeting and who you might be talking to. So, I see you clapping. You know what? When people clap in the middle of something, they usually get called up. So I'm actually drying your seat right now because I let my cup sit here and condense. Yeah, I'll just flip sides. We'll just stay over here.
All right.
So probably, really, if we're sitting here and we're to this point, I already know what you do and things like that. But we're just going to kind of start just from the top, and you're not going to know who you're meeting. Okay. All right, what's your name? Nuz what?
Nazneen.
Who's that?
That's me.
What?
How?
What kind of name is that?
It's
Where's
Persian.
that? Oh, Persian.
Yes.
That's Iranian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure is. Yep.
Okay. So, what do you?
I didn't say I was from there, did I? I didn't say I was from there. My name is Persian, but I didn't say I was from there.
What do you do?
Public health practitioner.
Public health practitioner.
Yeah. Well,
What
did we
it-
start already?
What is? Oh yeah, you're being interviewed. No, you're already being interviewed. You didn't recognize? You didn't see the shift? You didn't feel the
I
shift?
kind of did, but I
Okay.
just want to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is not real me right now.
Okay,
This I didn't just change. I'm not showing my dark evil side. This is, this is the practice.
Okay.
It started. So okay. All right. I asked you a question.
Oh, could you repeat that question?
What does that mean? What you do? You
Public
told me
health
what you.
practitioner?
Yeah. What is
Oh,
that? I don't know what that is.
So that's
You practice public health
Yeah,
or publicly?
that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I
okay.
appreciate that.
Huh.
So I've been a clinical researcher. So I've done work at the hospitals running clinical trials.
Mhm.
I've worked in academia running.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Will you pick up pizza on the way home? All right, I'm sorry. You were saying?
Yeah, no worries.
What?
Are you ready now?
I've been ready. What are you?
Oh, okay. I didn't want to.
Are you ready? You keep.
Yeah, no, I didn't
You
want
keep.
to interrupt.
You just kind of. So what is that?
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, a lot of different careers under public health. And
Mhm.
right now, I work in workforce development.
You kind of just didn't really tell me anything.
No.
You just told me what names are. What do you do? Like when you go to work every day, what do you do?
Yeah, so I do a lot of program planning and evaluation in workforce development.
Mm-hmm. You're still not telling me anything.
No.
Yeah. I don't even know what is workforce development.
So our aim is to hire
Uh,
and retain public health workforce in response to really what happened at COVID. Do you recall what happened in COVID?
Yeah, it seemed like everybody almost died. That was
Yeah.
wasn't a good time.
A lot of people did die.
Oh, they did, yeah. So they say. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know.
It's hard to tell anymore.
Yeah,
Who knows?
we have our conspiracy theorists too that don't think it ever happened.
Oh no,
They
we
think it
love
was
it. We
real.
love those people. We give them lots of ink. They're kind of, so, well, what's your story? What are you trying to get out there? What do you want to tell?
I just really the landscape of what's happening in public health now is really a tragedy, and like I said, it's just some things I can say and I can't because I work for the government.
Oh, now you got my attention.
Yeah.
So, in that role, you say there are things you can't say.
Yeah.
What are some of those things?
I can't say.
I don't. You don't understand. This is privilege. This is journalist client. This is privilege.
I know.
Just tell me off the record. Just tell me off the record. I won't use it. I pinky swear across my heart. Just one thing. Just tell me one thing that you couldn't tell somebody.
I just can't.
Okay.
I apologize.
All right. Who am I now? Who am I now? I'm the over it journalist. I'm the over it journalist. She got my attention right there. Oh, there's some things I'm not supposed to say. Now you got me back. Now you got me back. Up until then, I'm just yawning. Now you got me back. Now, if I'm really that guy, I'm going to stay on it, though. So, do you know what you did that you shouldn't have done? Somebody said, yeah. What'd she do?
Never said that there's things you can't say.
Bingo. There it is. There it is. Then that's all they want to know. Johnny, we got your Christmas present today, and it's hidden somewhere in the house. Don't look for it. Okay. Here we go.
A lot harder when you're on. That's what I said.
Yes.
That's why I had asked.
And that's why I want it, and that's why I'm being rude. I'm not generally rude.
No, I know.
But do you?
But it's hard.
Do you feel like that helps you in some kind of flow, understanding you're going to sometimes get some kind of impenetrable wall like that?
Yeah.
How do you counter that? How do you counter me? You just said something that brought me back.
Yeah.
It was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There's something else in your story that's going to get my attention. There is some bell you can ring that make that.
But what I can tell you is.
Just never even tell them what you can't tell them. Just don't let on that
But
you
I
have.
felt like you were a little badgery, right? So then I'm like.
I was because I'm over it. I'm over it, and you're taking my time. And there's a bar somewhere that will be opening soon, and I can go as soon as I'm done talking to you. So.
What I would have said is there is something that we're on to that a lot of people aren't on board with yet.
Oh.
They're like, oh.
Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? That was perfect. That's perfect. In fact, why don't we swap? You're going to meet another one of our friends. Hi. Kalina?
Yeah.
Kalina. That's an interesting name. Where'd you get that name?
Thank you. My parents gave it to me.
Well, I think that's how most names get got. But I mean, was it a family name? Was it a...
I really don't know. I wasn't there for the conversation. So
What's your name? You've had it your whole life. I would think I would know more about it. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. You ready for Christmas?
Certainly.
Already? Oh, I still got so much to do. Oh, God, I hadn't even started shopping. You know that? Not even started. Thanksgiving just snuck up on me this year. What do you do?
It's a complicated question.
I don't know if I can handle that, but try to tell me as easy as you can what you do.
If I had to say it in a couple of sentences, I take people outside and teach them leadership.
Why they got to go outside?
It's a really good question. I guess they technically don't to learn leadership.
You mean like outside of a building, like out in the park or out on the street or in the parking lot, or do they have to be outside?
That's a good question. There are a lot of ways to do it. Outside in the parking lot might not get you there, but
I'm sure you could make it work.
What happens in the parking lot?
I tend to take people outside on expeditions. So for a week or a couple weeks at a time, and they do something hard and learn how to lead through it.
Well, that sounds interesting. I don't know if it sounds very fun, but it sounds interesting. What are you doing later? Y'all got any plans? You going to dinner anywhere? We're trying to figure out. I don't know what we're going to do. What else can I ask you? Oh, I don't know. Let me think a minute. Hold on. Oh, when's your birthday? What are you, a Libra, Virgo? I think you're probably a Sagittarius. You are a Sagittarius?
I give Sagittarius.
I'm good. I'm good. I just picked up that vibe. I just picked up that Sagittarius vibe. What were we talking about?
Yeah, no, actually,
What?
you brought up a pretty interesting point
Yeah,
earlier.
what's
with
that?
leadership, right?
Uh-huh.
So, outside, you asked what is outside.
Why does it have to be outside? Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Okay.
Because sometimes going on expedition is hard naturally, especially.
What do you mean when you say go on expedition? My boss drives an expedition, but what are you talking about when you say go on expedition?
That's a really good question. You're in the media, right?
Yeah,
Have you heard of National Geographic?
of course.
Yeah, so one of the things that they do is they send people on really hard journeys. So you can think on the
Oh,
extreme
so like a
level.
journey, like going and climbing a mountain or something like that.
Yeah, so you can think on the extreme
Oh.
level like that. So it's something hard.
Like
And
killing fire ants in your yard.
that is definitely hard.
It is hard,
It's
isn't
definitely
it?
hard.
Man, we just had that for. Who am I? I'm the dumbass. I'm Meanwell, and I'm trying. Y'all don't understand. That's all I got. That's all I got. Kalina's in here trying to keep me on point and drag something. Oh, God, help me, person. You finally did. You took me down to, you made it where I could grasp it. Do you know what, Nash? You got a little snarky there in the middle. Maybe don't do that. But when you said, well, on National Geographic, well, yeah, of course. Well, they go on expeditions. Oh, okay, I got you now. So you're a mountain climber.
Something like that.
Yeah, be prepared. All right, you can be done. Thank you. Nicole Dubé, come sit in my chair.
I know.
Be the good kind.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather
That's
get
actually what I was going to do.
Well, not anymore. Thanks, Donna. Getting me prepared.
That's actually what I was going to do because I know her story. Hey, Nicole, I'm so glad we could talk today. What you're doing with the farm and your mobile program and trying to bring food into underserved areas, I mean, it's just extraordinary. What on earth put that in your heart? And when did this start speaking to you? When did you look up and go, oh, I have a mission?
Wow. In 2019, when I went to my daughter's school because she was being made fun of what was in her lunch. And
What was in her lunch?
Colored carrots, some kale, blueberries, very fresh produce.
And they made fun of that?
Kids were making fun of her lunch.
Because it wasn't goldfish?
Correct. So I decided to go into her school to really look at what was happening, why were they making fun of her, and kind of be in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
And then I found out kids didn't have access to the same foods that she did. And so,
Oh, wow. So it wasn't, they're making fun of it because it's different, and it was different for them because they haven't seen it. They haven't been exposed to it.
Mhm. So, and it was weird, right? So that kind of sparked the getting involved with the schools and learning where we stand within food systems.
So how did you do that? Did you just talk to administration and go, my daughter's getting blowback in the lunchroom?
Kind of. Well, I was involved in the PTSA.
Yeah.
So I was already connected to the school. But that particular story is how we got started in the mobile market, right? But our business model is much bigger than that. And we have such an interesting story of how we truly got started at the community of, the Coalition of Community Gardens.
Did anybody hear what she just did? Number one, who am I now? Do you know? I'm myself. What did she do?
She redirected it all to where she
Man, wasn't it fantastic? Wasn't it fantastic? You took chart, you took a conversational thread that I offered and you expanded on it and you expounded on it and you made it more conversational and less Q&A. And so you were taking control of your side and letting it be a natural flowing conversation. So,
Donna,
nice
will you
job.
take a picture to send to Pete? Anybody have that phone? Oh, you have it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we'll
take
just
one
cut
after.
you off the video.
We'll take one
Hey
after.
Pete, we'll send him a clip. We'll send him a clip. Let's see, who didn't I do yet? I know the one I didn't do yet. It's the one everybody's waiting for. Let's see. All right, the indifferent journalist and the overit journalist, based on our time, we're just going to move on to the grand finale here. The indifferent journalist and the overit journalist are mostly the same kind of thing, except the indifferent journalist might not have ever been any good and might not have ever had any interest, and it's just that job they could get out of college, so they did, and maybe stayed there until they move into PR. So, and they're kind of the same person. The overit journalist is usually pretty good, and they can be salvaged, they can be rescued, they can be drawn back. The indifferent journalist just needs to go do something else, and eventually they do, but it doesn't matter if you're talking to them then. So, the hostile journalist. Who wants to sit in the spotlight on the hot seat?
I think the journalist.
Literally nobody. Huh? You what?
I just put her on the hot seat.
You want to come put me on the hot seat?
No.
I'll do it.
You want to put me on the hot seat?
I'll do it. I don't have a lot
Do you want
of
to be on the hot seat or not on the hot seat?
No, you can.
You want to be in the hot seat? Okay. All
I
right.
didn't mean to do that, but you're.
All right.
No, I'll do it. I want more experience with the more like aggressor piece because I don't navigate that well. I know that about myself.
Haley, I'm a busy guy, and I want to talk to you. I want to tell you a story.
Sure.
I want to see what you've got here, see if there's anything to it. So, what do you do?
Well, I work for a major nonprofit, the Feeding America Network.
There is so much abuse and misuse in the nonprofit world. We've got to find ways to shut this down. It's all just fraud. And I got to tell you the truth. I think all nonprofits are fraud. I think all nonprofits are fraud. Funds are misdirected. People are misusing the money. What do you say?
Well, I would ask, why do you think that it's being
Because you
misused?
just see it everywhere. You just see it everywhere. You hear all the time. Even the stinking Red Cross puts all their money in their pocket and pays everybody, and they don't even take the stuff anywhere.
Yeah, I can totally see that misconception. I will tell you that my
How is that a misconception?
well
How is what I just told you a misconception?
Well, I would
I'm
love-
telling you from where I sit. We see it.
Absolutely.
Lady,
I
we're
would-
out there on the front lines fighting this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand where you're coming from. When I'm saying misconception is I'd like to clear the air. So with my nonprofit, we do a lot of different grants that directly influence the communities that we work in. And a lot of that comes down to very tight
How do you
financial
decide who
administration.
gets those grants? I mean, that sounds, somebody's got too much power over there.
Oh, well, the good thing is the grants come to us from our own applications. So we choose the organizations that we apply to, and then we are fortunate.
How do we
fortunate
know
enough to
that?
get
How do we
funding.
know that? How do we know that? All we know is we see money going in. Do you get public funding?
We get public funding, yes.
Do you get private funding?
Yes, we do.
How is that money accounted for? How do we know what's being done with that money? How do we know that money is flowing down to where it's supposed to go?
That's a great question, and I think it's a
I know
good
it
question
is.
to ask. And I'm
It
glad
is.
you're
That's why I
asking.
ask it.
There's this beautiful document called the 990 that anybody in the world or whoever is looking at the nonprofit can have free reign to check out and see exactly where every penny of our dollars are being spent.
So there is an accounting somewhere.
Yes, absolutely. We get audited every year.
Okay. I'm sure there's some way you could cook that too. People cook the books all the time. So what is the work? What is the nature of it? What are you doing?
Well, we service 10 counties across the Tampa Bay area. We do everything.
That's a big network
Very big
to cover.
network.
Yes.
Yes.
How can you, that doesn't seem possible.
Well, the funny thing is, our mission statement is actually, it is possible, so. we
Sounds like a waste
definitely-
of time to me.
Why would you think it's a waste of time?
Because it can't be done. It's just, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting people's efforts, and you're giving people false hope where there really is none.
Well, there's a couple
I-
things I'd say
I
I'd be
just
proud
can't
of
support
working in my
that.
organization. We just hit 1 billion
Okay,
meals
tell
served
me.
over our lifetime and of our organization being open since 1982. We hit 100 million meals this year. And we just opened a brand new facility that has an entire community center wing that does networking and community connection and actually plugs in smaller nonprofits.
Well, let me
and other
tell you some
organizations
things
to
that
help
I've
our
heard about
clients
Feeding
get
America.
access to
I'm talking, please.
resources.
Let me ask you some questions. These are the things I've heard about Feeding America.
Sure.
I hear money is diverted constantly. I hear leadership is overpaid. I hear, particularly in Georgia and Atlanta, Walmart has cut out exclusive deals with Feeding America, and they're cutting out other providers and other sources. Walmart will work exclusively with Feeding America, and they're no longer donating food to any other public entity. Why is Feeding America hogging the trough?
Well, I can't speak to Feeding America as a whole, but I can speak to my organization that is doing funding in Florida. While we do work with Walmart as well, and they are a great funder of ours, we also work with Publix, which is a very intense funder.
So
for
you're
us.
telling me Walmart does not go in and put these exclusive restrictions on people and say who can have their leftover food and who can't?
To my knowledge, with my organization, we do not. They do not do that with us.
What'd she just do?
That are good.
It was very good. It was very good. You a pro, girl. All right. What did she do? What did she do that was more important than that? She kept answering truthfully and engaging until she diffused me. When we got to that last point, I didn't have an answer. She took away my power. She took away my hostility.
I have to do my interviews with my hair down because my ears get so red. I filmed myself before and I noticed that happening. I'm like, no, they'll know I'm getting upset.
Honey, I wear full makeup on TV, and we wear the same brand and the same shade for that very reason, because I'll just go red in an instant. Hey, listen, thank you all today. I hope you got something. I hope you got something to carry with you and something that will help you. I hope this is something we're going to be doing more of. I'd love to hear from any of you at any time. I am the good journalist, I hope, and I have an open door. And oh, do you know how creepy that felt? That felt so disgusting. I've hated that guy my whole life, and now I was sitting here being him, and it was, ew, I'm a method actor, so. Well, that's the whole point, is so you can see, because this really happens. Every scenario you saw in this chair really happens. These are real world scenarios, and I've been in so many newsrooms where I've met all of these people. So you had a point?
So is just practicing then when you are in those situations is just kind of like maybe.
Did you feel that helped you?
Yeah, it did.
You feel that helped you?
Yes, yeah.
Do you feel that helped you? Not so much. You got the dumbass, remember? so that's kind of the way that one's gonna roll. It's kind of like, well, maybe they'll wake up tomorrow and be in a happy mood and go, well, I met the nicest lady. You don't. That's one more tip. Learn the local media landscape. Learn who covers what. Use their names. Talk about their work. Don't you hate when people act like you're standing on the corner in Nebraska and and it's just all they got to do is pull over and say, get in the car. And it's like, hey, I've got some dignity here. Hey, tell my story, you, dear. How many press releases do you get that say, dear blank? Because nobody even bothered to make sure the mailer was putting in the names from the list. Dear Chris, dear Chuck, dear dumbass, dear, whatever.
That is literally like fundraising 101 too. It's
Isn't
the
it?
personal touch.
My
mindset.
gosh.
Like,
And
people don't feel thanked unless they've been thanked 7 times.
and if you're not certain of someone's name, leave it out. It's so much worse to get somebody's name wrong than to not use it. But if you intend to approach a journalist or the media and look for coverage, get to know the local landscape, get to know who covers your beats. You will find friends, you will find traction, you'll be prepared to make the media work for you. So I'd love to hear from any of you at any time. Just go to our website, just contact everything. I'll give you an example. I said earlier, have something ready at all times to represent you, and we've just had to do this here at our place. I've always thought my whole life that I'm not the story. That's why I tell the story. And lately, I don't know, probably in the last year and a half, people are going, oh, you're actually part of the story. And so I'm having to do some things that all of you are going to have to do. Come out of your comfort zone. It wasn't supposed to be the Chip Carter show. It was supposed to be the Where the Food Comes From show, and I'm just the guy taking you on the journey. But that's flipped and it's changed. We're working with partners from Google Food Lab, and they discovered us, and they've been really good with us, and they've connected us to other service providers like our marketing agency. All the people are telling me now, yeah, Chip, that's what it was, but that's not what it is anymore. Now you've got to come out and you've got to walk out front. And I didn't want to do that. It's not that I'm uncomfortable doing that. It just seems unseemly to me. I don't ever try to make things about me, but now in order to help everything, I've got to do some of that. So understand that even at a different level, there's discomfort. It's not that I don't want the spotlight. It's just that I don't want people thinking I think I'm all that. And so they're telling me, you got to do it. You can do it, and you can pull it off. So what we talk about a lot around our world now is the product, because I can't say, all right, let's talk about me. We'll talk about the product if that's what we're doing. So we just had to create a new page based on all the new media interest that's coming in and all the people who want to talk and give us more publicity, which is a beautiful circle that if you ever get it, it's just sustaining. We had to actually create a page, Meet Chip Carter, I call it. And in all of our meetings about it, I never called it anything but the product page. So that's our product page. If you go to our website and click About, you'll see what we've done there. It's some of my media appearances, some of my media clips, things I've written, videos we've made, talking points. If you look at that page and how it's structured and set up, that might give you some ideas. On a smaller scale, you're not going to have to give them that much, but you don't do what I do. So I know this is a page that we have set up really just for the media. Anybody else can too, they seem to think people will be interested, but we're doing it for the media to meet the product. Take a look. Just go to wherethefoodcomesfrom.com, or just remember the first letters, WTFCF, wherethefoodcomesfrom.com. Take a look at what we're doing. If you click the About, you'll see what we did for our product page, and that might give you some ideas of, a shorter kind of thing that you could have warehoused. Again, whether it's in a file, whether it's an infographic, whether it's on a website, whatever it is, it's got to be a ready reference that you can put in front of somebody at a moment's notice, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come. You never know when you're going to be in Nashville and somebody says, we'd like to interview you live on the air, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm doing this now. So, and it's funny because, we knew I was doing it. I was going there to do these things, and then we stayed another day so Donna could go on and take a whirl through it. So just be ready. Just be ready.
And the more you do it, the easier it goes.
It's true. So true.
Showing
So
up,
true.
like I had to do,
So
did
true.
a spot with Monica on the Gail Gallardo show, right? And walking into that studio and was so overwhelming. I was shaking, and it was like.
And Gail's pretty good. She's one of the locals who's pretty good.
She was pretty good, but
Yeah.
it's very like quick,
Yep.
right? You got like
Yep.
45 seconds.
And understand that, especially in broadcasting,
Which is
television
that
or radio, it's going to be
overwhelming
like that.
feeling of being in a new place
Yeah.
and not, so now I know what to expect, right? So now I know like, but it's hard to say yes sometimes when you're so uncomfortable. Like that's what I was saying. It's almost paralyzing, and it's
Especially if it's a stranger.
yeah.
And maybe even more so if it's a stranger who you know. Like you know Gail Gallardo, she's been on the air here forever. And you're sitting there going, oh. And now instead of coming out of my television, she's sitting here talking to me. Okay. So those are all things. It's all about just, what was it? We used to do a workout tape, a yoga tape, where Jillian Michaels would say, get used, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you can do that, then you've mastered it. And look, mostly this all went really well. You know, to be able to shut down that hostility thread, that was major. To compensate for the dumbass, good luck. Sometimes you just pays your money and you takes your chances, and that's what it is. But I think everybody did a pretty good job, and as we went through the flow, I hope you saw a little bit. That's a very microcosm of what is going to happen, even though some interviews these days are about that long.
One of the things I was asked is this going to be edited, or if it's not going to be edited, right? Like, because sometimes it's so different. And like in a podcast, if you're being interviewed.
Oh, it's a good point. Yeah, is it a freewheeling?
You're 2 minutes, right? If it's live or if it's going to be
Yeah.
edited.
And some networks will, well, not networks, but like some, especially if it's local, they might let you have eyes on the final product before. Sometimes they'll let you do that. So
If you have any concerns, it's worth an ask.
Yeah.
Especially as you're trying to cultivate relationships with people and build relationships with people. I'll give you a quick, for instance, when the first time that the people from the takeout and tasting table tapped me for something, you know, I not only gave them what they wanted, I gave them more than they wanted without overwhelming them. I dug deeper. I made sure it was note perfect, everything I sent. And this was all email. This is all email stuff. All of my stuff with them is all by email. But I made sure it was note perfect. I made sure I put side notes explaining things that weren't part of the dialogue and weren't part of the flow. And of course, the editors were thrilled when they got the material, and instantly they said, all right, we're going to spend about 8 articles off of these interviews, and we would love, you know, to talk to you more anytime. So in the months since, I've built that relationship. I've offered to check in on things. If I know they're looking for something or dealing with something, I check in. Can I help you? Because now I know these editors, you know, as personally as I'm going to know them. But we built a relationship. I've cultivated that relationship, and they now know, call Chip. And it's a fantastic way. I highly encourage anybody. You're going to get so much more media coverage. Somebody might come out and tell your farm story once. You know, they might do it again a few years later. If you set yourself up as a subject matter expert in your field, that's when the media is really going to start finding you very appealing. That's the bridge that I crossed earlier this year when I stopped waiting for people to just write about me and my show and how great we are. You know, that thing I said earlier, if you don't tell them, who will? You know, if you don't tell them, who will? We can't just sit here and wait for people to discover the show. I'm already old. So we got to hurry up. We got to hustle them up. So I started responding to requests, and there are boards that you can look at if you're looking for more outreach publicity. There's one called Quoted, QWOTED. Go take a look at that one, quoted.com, QWOTED. They're constantly, it's journalists looking for subject matter experts on things. Another one is called HARO, HARO. Stands for Help a Reporter Out. Look at both of those. sign up for the newsletters, click what your interests are, and you will get an email update every day telling you what journalists are looking for what in your lanes. When you see these, if you want to talk on to them, jump immediately, because there are, what Donna say? Here's my checklist. I need these things. Here, I'm looking at you now. It's your turn. It's your publicity. You're in the chair. What do you mean you're not ready? I don't have a... All right, bye, Felicia. Next. And you lost your shot, and it's gone. It probably don't come back, especially if you try to talk to that journalist again. Oh, that's the one that just totally blew me off. So, all right.
Can I mention one other thing?
Please. We'll stay all night.
This one other thing. When you're looking for the local news, like ours, like we're not a print paper. San Pedro Gazette's not print because it's so expensive to print.
90% of media is going to be online or on air, period.
If you are on like
95.
Instagram or like other social sites and stuff like that that have that visual component, or a shared followers list, if you're looking for more local outlets and you're like, okay, well, I've already talked to maybe us at San Pedro, you can look at other accounts that those media accounts are following to find more lists of media to go into. It might be like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? That might be like not new information, but I find that that's really helpful. When I was transitioning from like looking only at legacy media to starting my journey with high school.
Critical
like,
point, because
I wanted to see what the other journalists were listening to, because that gives me an idea of credibility.
and it's all going to be online. It's all going to be online. And there are, just try searching for like Tampa Bay media and see what comes up. You will find directories that just have all of the Tampa Bay media outlets listed, including all the ones you never heard of that are out there doing good work and serving people. So build your network, build a local network, cultivate relationships. You know, you're not exploiting people. You don't have to be their best friend. You might find out you actually make a friendship with them, you know, and it might last and sustain for a long time. But, you know, that's how you get to them. Just more than anything, treat them with dignity, treat them with human beings. Most members of the media are sincere, and they really are trying their best against overwhelming odds in a very negative atmosphere where nothing has gotten better in media in the last 25 years. It's all just gotten worse. So understand all of that. You'll find friends, you'll find support, and understand if the shit gets thick and you're in the gun sights, just own it. Just own it. Don't sacrifice yourself, but don't try to hide it, because it will come out. So, all right. I think the bar is open if anybody's drinking. So. Oh, that was fun.